What's going on, everybody? You tuned in to another edition of our No Time for Talk, Just Time for Action podcast. And today we're going to be talking about the Brandon's Act. This was act or bill that was signed by the Senate. It's on its way to President Biden's desk. And I'm a little bit late on this. And the reason why I'm a little bit late is because I've been waiting to see if it's actually going to be signed. I haven't seen anything saying that it has been signed. So if you guys have seen it out there, just please let me know, but I haven't seen anything that it has been signed yet. I have a guest here. I'm gonna let him introduce himself in a second. But before we do that, if you guys can please head to veterans5to9.com, veterans5to9.com. We are having a motorcycle raffle. We are trying to sell 1,000 tickets. It's a 2008 Kawasaki Concourse 14. Tickets are $20 each. So go ahead, please do support the organization. Veterans 5-9, if you don't know what we do, we support veterans on nights and weekends with mental health and substance abuse resources, along with food, lodging, and transportation. We get it done. We right now are in kind of desperate need of some funding. So if you can please check us out. Again, hop on to veterans5to9.com. Please purchase some tickets. We got some gifts that come along with that. So again, I appreciate the support. So without further ado, my guest here, David Campbell, I'm sure you've seen him in the community. I will let him introduce himself. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. David Campbell here, Army veteran, first Gulf War, combat engineer. I loved the Army. It was a family job, so I couldn't wait to do my part. And of course, my first day of basic training was the first day Iraq invaded Kuwait, so they trained us just to go into the desert and take out minefields, things like that. I loved it, wanted more of it. And I saved my squad's life during the battle that ended the war. A few days later, I was killed. I have no memory of what happened. They asked me if I wanted to go home or back out to my unit. And I was 18 years old. I was already made it through the war. Let's suck it up and drive on. Let's go back. I'm still alive. And so I did that. And didn't find a whole lot of support from my team. I felt alone, helpless, hopeless. Didn't understand what I was going through. I guess that was the beginning of PTSD. And because of it, I got out. Because I had no support, I just got out. I was done with everything. I didn't know where to go, so I turned and ran. And that didn't work. For 25 years of drinking and drugging and waiting for death, I finally found the support and got the right people around me, made the changes that I need to make, continue to do, and now I pay it forward. I take it out to every veteran that I can find, male, female, doesn't matter. I work with law enforcement. We train on how best to respond to a veteran that's in crisis. I do retreats. I work with service animals. It's all volunteer. I'm on a mission from God. And so I love the topic today, and I love what you do, Marcus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So we're going to go into kind of a little bit what you said, where you didn't find a whole lot of support with your unit. And for those who don't know, I think these next couple of videos, I'm just going to get some veterans that I know that I'm pretty close with, and just kind of get their thoughts on this Brandon's Act, because I think a lot of times this is good stuff that we can use, but the implementation, the stigma behind it, may be the hurdle that we as a society, service members, veterans have to kind of get over. So I'm just going to read to you guys a little bit about what this is, because I didn't know a whole lot about it until it was brought to my attention maybe about a month ago. So the Brandon Act is designed to protect service members who experience mental health emergencies and reduce stigma around reporting. The bill will allow service members to seek mental health treatment and require a mental health evaluation as soon as a service member self-reports. It will also allow Americans serving in uniform to seek help confidentially and, if necessary, outside of the chain of command. And we're going to scroll down here to, let's see. And just a little bit about Brandon. Brandon Concerta died by suicide on June 25th, 2018, on the flight line at Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. After his death, his parents and friends discovered 6 notes in which Brandon attributed his suicide to persistent hazing and bullying from some members and leaders of his Navy helicopter squadron. The Brandon Act expands the existing law that regulates how service members are referred for mental health evaluations in order to provide a confidential channel for service members to self-report mental health issues. The process will protect the confidentiality of service members, similar to the restricted reporting option that protects victims of sexual assault. Moulton first introduced the bill in 2020, and he secured passage of it as part of House version of the fiscal year 21 National Defense Arizona Act, but the bill was removed during negotiations between the House and Senate. Moulton has made expanding mental health care and breaking the stigma around seeking help a top priority since disclosing in 2019 that he is managing post-traumatic stress from his service in Iraq as a United States Marine. In addition to the Brandon Act, Moulton successfully used FY 20 NDAA to secure mandatory mental health checkups for service members who served in combat within 21 days of their departure from the battlefield. So a lot of good information there, a lot of good information. But as we turn it back to you, David, so if this gets signed into law, we have you at 18, 19 years old, just going to war, or maybe even before the war, the ramp up, and you start to experience some of this, again, you're a 19, 18-year-old kid. And for those who've never experienced going to war at that young age, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. So I guess on the surface, David, do you see something like this helping?
My first thought is it's great. It needs to happen, but how? I wouldn't have admitted I had any problems. I was rough and tough, mean and green. I was ready to go, and I could not be anything but that in my eyes and what I thought I was supposed to be. And so any weakness, especially coming from a combat family, everybody's been to combat and they came back, and of course they had their issues, alcoholism mainly, and hatred and anger. I thought that's just the life of a soldier. And I found out the hard way that it can be so much better. We can be so much better soldiers, not only soldiers for ourselves, but soldiers for our fellow veterans. No longer do we have to sit there and hate ourselves, our service, our fellow man. I mean, it's just, we need to put a goal, a prize in with that, to take the ego away. We need the veterans to feel comfortable in taking this step. It needs to be more natural, if that makes sense.
No. I think it makes perfect sense. And I think it's got to start with, leadership, that small unit, that leadership, that corporal, that sergeant, that staff sergeant, whatever the case may be, because, as you said, you got some salty units out there, and people coming back from war, and you coming in as a boot, it's just like, hey, we don't have time to, sit here and sulk and whatever the case may be. We need to get you ready, get you trained, and get you ready to go to war. And again, as an 18, 19-year-old kid, that can be a lot. And if you start to, experience some of that, the channel needs to be open. If you talk to IE or, squad leader, whatever the case may be, or what are those channels to seek outside help, as the bill designed. So I will pass it back to you. You as a young man in the military, Do you think if you would have asked for help back then, do you think you would have gotten it?
Yeah, they would have helped me with a boot in my ass. Excuse my French.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, because nobody understood it back then. It wasn't understood as a disease of the mind and the soul like it is now. So we got a lot more education out right now. So it needs to be more of a, you need to be rewarded to do this, because it takes a hard soldier to go and do the things that we did. And I applaud that, and I'll do it a million times for this country. However, there's got to be a step afterwards. It's got to be an automatic step. We all have to go through it. It has to be mandatory. Boot camp, a secondary boot camp for after this. And I believe we could save a whole lot of lives by just implementing that small step, taking away the ego. Let people know that this is it's a normal problem to an abnormal situation. It's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. So be grateful that you have the PTSD and that you need to talk to somebody. That means you're not a psychopath. That means that you can be helped. There's lots of help out there. So please let down your ego and let's keep driving forward. Hoorah!
There you go.
Love it.
So you had mentioned, after you got blown up, and they asked you if you wanted to go back, you were like, yep, let's go continue the mission, but you didn't find a lot of support. Can you elaborate on that?
I spent 6 weeks in 3 different MASH units, and they asked me if I wanted to go home or back out to my unit, and I just played it off. I was fine. Nothing was wrong with me. So they sent me back out to the unit, and I was hoping that when they picked me up, they would tell me, yeah, we were attacked. And again, you saved our lives, risking your life. But it wasn't that. It was, you screwed up. You were blowing munitions on a day you weren't supposed to. Well, we were attacked. And so I had to save our lives. And I expected that talk. But when I was picked up, I was berated, bullied, put down because I couldn't cooperate their thought of what happened. Last thing I know, we were attacked. And I used to pray that I died that day. Thank God I don't feel that way today, because I found all the help. I found all the resources that we have, and no longer do we need medication. And I love that part. I mean, we don't have to fill up with medication. We can do it. It's a spiritual thing. So,
right. And you mentioned it, a lot of people in the military, they may have a release of, we're just going to go out and drink. That's it. Drink, and you know what? And just drink the pain away.
That's acceptable. Huh?
Yeah. And that's, probably not the right way to go about things. If you are, people may be thinking that you're just, oh, you're just drinking to have a good time. But, a lot of people may not know what's really going on the inside. So for you personally, you said, once you got out, this led to what, 20, how many years of just kind of
25 years of suicide attempts and drugs and alcohol. It was a pure mess. It was a dark hole. It was hell, pure hell. And God pulled me out, dusted me off, and told me about the 22 suicides a day. And I lost my breath. I couldn't believe that there were that many people out there feeling the way I did. And if I could be saved, anybody could be saved. So if you're thinking that you're not worthy, well, that's how I used to think. If you're thinking you're not strong enough, well, that's how I used to think. Put those thoughts away. You're a soldier. You can make it through basic training. You can make it to this next phase of life where you'll be much happier.
So I just want people to grasp the concept of that. You go in 18, 19 years old in the military, and then from that point of not getting any help to 25 years later, 20 years, 25 years later, to finally trying to get that help. And that's how long it took to open up after everything that had happened. You know, I want everybody to think about that. You know, when we talk about 22 suicides, I mean, that could be people who veterans dealing with that pain, since the time that they got in, that has never ever been addressed. Because we got to accomplish the mission, we got to move forward.
Right.
There is no
Who are we
time,
going to talk to?
right? There's only time to get it done. And like you said, there's a time and a place for that, but there should be a time and a place to, hey man, are you okay? Like, did that affect you? Because yeah, it 18, 19 years old, yeah, I'm pretty sure it did affect you. This is not a video game. This is not, Call of Duty. This is real life. People don't understand. War isn't glorious. There's just nobody out there saying, yeah, it's all good. Nobody's thinking that. That is probably the furthest thing from your mind at an 18, 19-year-old, watching people get blown up, bullets, X, Y, and Z.
It was, oh crap, here we go. This is reality. This is actually happening. Pucker
Right.
up.
Yeah. You don't get a second chance.
No.
You may not come home. Freedom isn't free. So, for that individual who is willing to serve, why don't we give an outlet? Why don't we push, more help if you need it? And why does it need to be looked down? But why do we need to look down upon that if that's the case? Because when
That's ego.
yeah, because
That's
you can
simple.
And I guess the choice is simple. Like, either, all right, you know what, you choose not to do anything about it, and you have this guilt for 25 years, or you have veterans committing suicide, or you can maybe try to do something about it and help that 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old, young man, so it doesn't steamroll into 20 years of substance abuse and alcohol and, trying to go through all these avenues to get help for something that could have been dealt with earlier.
I did go to the VA in Loma Linda, California in 1993, and I did their 30-day drug and alcohol program, but they didn't, we didn't touch on any of the spiritual loss, we didn't touch on any of the PTSD, the TBI, any of that. So of course, first thing I did when I left that place was drink a beer, and I was on again until I found somebody that I could actually talk to that knew what I was going through. And we've got them around us today. So let's not lollygag on this any longer.
No, I agree. So hopefully this is something that gets signed, because I think it can be beneficial as we just discussed, but there is a reality that maybe it won't get signed. And, what are we doing?
That means we stand up for our brothers and our sisters and we say, look, command, there's a problem right here. Let's deal with it. Or actually, what are you going to do to help us deal with this obvious problem? Let's put it back on them. They're our leaders. They'll figure it out. I got faith in them.
Read. All right, man. That was, David, an intense conversation, but I'm glad you came on and kind of put some perspective on things. Hopefully I didn't disrespect anybody. That was not the intention of this meeting. Just a conversation, honest conversation about what we can do better to improve mental health and inside of our military units. For those children, kids who are going to war. It's easy to sit back from home and say what we should do and what we need to go do, but at the end of the day, if you ain't putting on a uniform and if you're not the person going or you're not going through it, then you really don't know. You don't.
Never understand it.
No. Again, David, I appreciate it. You have any final words you want to let everybody?
I do, if you don't mind. One of our bigger concerns right now are the spouses of the veterans. They have to deal with us and they don't have a VA to go to. So we're creating groups, and I suggest all spouses, if they can't find a group, to start their own group. And it's just people talking, commonalities, not only the spouses, but the children of the crazy veteran. The kids need help. everybody needs help. It's a whole family syndrome. It's a whole city syndrome. It's an entire nation syndrome that we're working on.
Awesome, awesome. I definitely agree with that, definitely wholeheartedly. Again, like I told you guys, I will be bringing on different guests, and we'll just kind of talk about this subject a little bit more, get some different opinions from veterans out there about this. You guys, I don't post super often, but when I do post, I like to make sure the content is definitely something that you guys can get behind, and it's something that can help everybody out. So again, for this channel, please like, share, and definitely subscribe. Please, if you guys have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Please go to veteransfighter9.com and check out our motorcycle raffle. Definitely could use that funding so we can continue to assist veterans. David can attest to that. We're out there making it happen. You know, I don't mess around when it comes to trying to help a veteran. I'm deadly serious about it. And
no excuses. I love it.
Yeah.
No excuses.
So again, people, everybody, again, 22 suicides a day. That's way too high. It should be 0. We have the resources, we have the knowledge, we can go out and help veterans. So again, I know it's a serious topic, but we have the tools and resources to help these young men and women, and even men and women who have retired, been out, whatever the case may be. We've got the tools to help them out. We just got to fix some of these kinks in the system, I'll call it. So again, David, I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure I'm going to have you on the show again.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
You got it.
Good luck, everybody.
Super bye.